I knew something was wrong the moment my truck hit a strip of fresh gravel that shouldn't exist on untouched mountain land. Then the trees opened, and my stomach dropped. 9 cottages, finished, occupied. Tourists unloading coolers, music blasting, kids sprinting across what should have been raw wilderness. And at the entrance, a polished wooden gate and a guard booth labeled HOA enforcement. I pushed through anyway, and that's when she stormed out, short, heavy-set, packed into a cargo vest, barking orders like a general defending her kingdom. She looked me up and down, smirked, and said, "Sir, you're trespassing on our property." Then she added something that made my blood freeze. She didn't walk, she waddled with authority, a short, heavy-set woman stuffed into a tan cargo vest, like it was one size too small. Sunglasses so big they covered half her face, clipboard tucked under her arm like a weapon. She barked orders at a landscaping crew, pointing with a chubby finger as if she'd been ruling this fake kingdom for decades. The second she saw me, she strutted over with the confidence of someone who'd memorized every imaginary rule she planned to use against me. "Let's try this again," she said, lips pursed tight. "You're on HOA-managed land. Please remove yourself." I pulled out my deed. Clean, stamped, irrefutable. She didn't even glance at it. Background cluster, embedded seamlessly. I'd bought this land at a state auction, $740, 000 wired same day. No partners, no confusion. I'm a former surveyor. I don't buy dirt unless I've walked every inch. I'd staked the boundaries myself, flown a drone overlay, printed 6 deed copies. I knew this parcel like my own fingerprint. Karen snapped her fingers, dismissing all of that with a single condescending laugh. "You must have bought a piece of paper, not the land," she said. "This community has existed for months. Families rely on it." Behind her, tourists carried coolers and frisbees, not a single family in sight. And then she leaned in, voice dropping. "If you think you can challenge us," she smirked, "you're not ready for what comes next." I didn't go to bed angry. I went to bed calculating. By 2:47 a.m., I had my laptop open, bourbon pushed aside, monitors glowing across my dining table like a war room. First stop, Airbnb, then VRBO, then Booking.com. There they were, 9 listings, each with the same polished branding, Aspen Ridge Cottages, private river retreat for HOA members. The nightly rate made me choke, $550, $620 per night, depending on the weekend. The occupancy calendar, almost maxed out for the next 2 months. Hundreds of photos, fireplaces, custom tile, river view decks, and the main hero photo, my drone shot, taken before a single illegal nail was hammered. I scrolled deeper. The host, Glenmount Heritage LLC, linked to a business address that matched one of the cottages. The listed contact, Macy Lorraine, Karen's daughter. The reviews were infuriating. "Love this protected community. HOA rules, keep the place quiet. Feels like a private sanctuary away from greedy developers." Greedy developers. Cute. Then came the digital shrapnel. Karen posted in a local mountain living group, "Predatory investor, attempts to claim community property. Aspen Ridge will stand strong." Hundreds of likes. Dozens of comments calling me everything short of Satan in hiking boots. Karen wasn't poking me, she was softening the ground for a siege. I shut my laptop breath, steadying not from fear but from clarity. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was an operation. By sunrise, I was deep inside the county permitting portal. It took less than a minute to confirm the obvious. No building permits, no septic permits, no electrical permits, no occupancy permits. There wasn't even a temporary toilet permit on the parcel. Yet Karen had built 9 cottages with foundations, chimneys, and deck railings. Those don't pop up by accident. Someone approved something, so I dug. 10 minutes later, I hit pay dirt. Inspector Ronald Vickers, a name that popped up in the Planning Commission's meeting notes, had approved a temporary field housing structure in a different zone nearby. The description was vague. The coordinates were off, but the signature was the same. It was the perfect loophole for someone willing to fake legitimacy. I didn't waste time. That same week, I hired a private survey crew, 2 licensed engineers, a drone operator with FAA clearance. We arrived early, gear loaded, and began restaking boundaries, scanning structures, marking trenches. Every cottage sat deep inside my parcel, not grazing the line, not disputable, dead center. Karen's HOA enforcement brutes weren't subtle. They tailgated us, filmed us, asked who we worked for. One tried to block the drone operator, threatening to report him to federal aviation. The irony nearly made me laugh. Because I worked alone most days, I noticed something my crew didn't. Tire tracks, fresh ones, cutting deeper into the forest on the backside of the property following the old service trail I'd marked months ago. They weren't maintaining cottages, they were expanding them. Karen wasn't trespassing, she was colonizing. The first real blow didn't come from Karen screaming. It came from the county courthouse. A thick envelope arrived by courier white official heavy. Civil complaint, Aspen Ridge, HOA v. Silas Brady trespassing, harassment, interference with community operations, infliction of emotional distress, on my own land. Karen wasn't reacting to my presence, she was preemptively positioning me as the villain. Then the news article hit. City investor threatens local river community. A grainy still of me on site with my jaw clenched made it look like I'd come to bulldoze a scout camp. Commenters didn't hold back. Developers ruin every inch they touch. Outsider trying to take land from locals. Keep him away from Aspen Ridge. People loved Karen's narrative because it had an easy hero her and an easy villain me. My business partners called within hours. Silas, is this going to hit our other holdings? Should we distance the firm? Does this affect licensing? I gave them the same answer every time. I'm not backing off. My attorney filed a response the next morning, then filed a counterclaim that read, like a demolition order, illegal occupation, fraudulent HOA, unlawful construction, rental income concealment, environmental threat to protected riverbank. He ended the filing with 6 words. This is property theft with witnesses. Karen wasn't just dangerous, she was organized, which meant I needed to be unstoppable. Blocking their illegal access road wasn't flashy. Just 3 cleanly placed concrete barriers across the ridge path they'd carved into my land like they owned it. Within an hour, my phone was buzzing like a hornet's nest. Karen's security guards threatened lawsuits. They filmed my crew from 2 feet away. One accused us of infrastructure sabotage as if their gravel driveway was the 8th wonder of the world. By sunset, 2 county sheriff cruisers rolled up. Karen, of course, arrived soon after, sweating short, heavy-set, dramatically wiping her forehead like the hike from her SUV had nearly killed her. Officers, she announced loudly, he's blocking access to families. Children are frightened. Residents feel unsafe. I looked around. The only residents I saw were grown adults in Crocs, drinking White Claw. I handed the deputies my deed packet, survey maps, coordinates, affidavit. Deputy Harris, a sturdy man with the calm of someone who's seen too much, reviewed everything. His expression didn't change. Finally, he looked at Karen. Ma'am, this land is owned by Mr. Brady. Legally, he can secure it however he needs. Karen's smile shattered for a flash, then she glued it back on. We'll see about that, she hissed. We'll handle this publicly. And she did. By morning, she had flyers, posts, and events promoting a community gathering to defend Aspen Ridge. She wasn't retreating, she was mobilizing. The war shifted when I received an unexpected email. Subject, saw your name in the article. You need to talk to me. Sender Savannah Blake, investigative journalist. We met at an old mountain diner. She slid a thick folder across the table, photos, rental data, satellite images, metadata logs. Then she said, you're sitting on the biggest illegal rental scam I've seen in years. Together, we tore into the truth. Satellite images from 5 months ago, the land cleaned. Images from 2 months later, wooden frames everywhere. Interviews with workers paid in cash, no names, no contracts. Air DNA rental analytics, 6 figures per month, all under the table. Financial Trail Glenmount Heritage, Nevada Shell Private Trust, accessible by Karen. Internal emails, septic warnings ignored, runoff flagged Karen, replying, the landowner has no standing. Sent after my deed was recorded. Then everything snapped. News alert. Sirens. Social media flood. One of the cottages, Cedar Haven, collapsed. The entire balcony ripped away under a bachelorette group from Denver. The bride's sister was airlifted with a shattered spine. Another woman's arm was crushed. 2 more hospitalized with major injuries. OSHA arrived. County fire marshal arrived. State investigators arrived. Their findings were horrifying. No rebar. Untreated beams. Deck screws for load-bearing joists. Walls anchored to vinyl siding. 0 inspections. 0 code compliance. One inspector whispered to Savannah, I've seen sturdier playgrounds. Karen tried to call it a freak material failure. Nobody believed her. The county sealed the property. The state launched investigations. Federal agencies took interest in the watershed violations. Karen had crossed the final line. And the fall was coming. The county hearing room felt like a pressure cooker, packed wall to wall with reporters, locals injured, tourists, activists, and a dozen people live streaming. At the center table sat Karen, short, heavy-set, wedged into a too-tight navy blazer, face shiny under the fluorescent lights. Her clipboard sat like a shield. She rose first. Her voice trembled with rehearsed emotion. "We built Aspen Ridge out of love," she said, clutching her chest. "We protected this land when outsiders refused to respect it. This tragedy," she gestured toward the injured women, "was caused by faulty materials from an unreliable subcontractor, not by us." The room murmured. Then my attorney nudged me. My turn. I stepped up to the mic and placed a single binder on the table. "Here," I said, "is every permit tied to my land. Notice how none of them authorize a single cottage. Not one." Murmurs shifted. Karen stiffened. I continued. "And here," I held up a tablet as satellite imagery, proving construction began after I purchased the parcel. "And here," I tapped again, "is a sworn statement from a worker describing cash payments and orders to ask no questions." The room's energy changed instantly. Tension thickened. Karen didn't blink. She just squeezed her lips into a strange little smile. But her eyes were cornered. Savannah stepped forward next, rolling in a monitor the size of a small door. The clerk dimmed the lights. A slideshow clicked to life. Image 1, my land 5 months ago, trees brush untouched soil. Image 2, 2 months later, frames rising, trenches dug. Image 3, cottages, nearing completion, no inspector signatures, no posted permits. The audience murmured louder this time. Savannah pulled up financial records. "This," she said, "is Glenmount Heritage LLC. Rental income over $120,000 per month. Routed into a Nevada shell, then into a private trust." She highlighted a name. "Karen Lorraine, Executive Advisor." Karen shot up from her chair. "That's taken out of context." The judge banged the gavel. "Sit down, Miss Lorraine," Savannah continued. "This next file was sent to the county last winter, an email response from Karen regarding septic violations." She clicked. Big letters filled the screen. "The landowner has no standing. This is HOA managed territory. Timestamp. 2 weeks after my deed was recorded." Gasps broke around the room. Next came the OSHA report on the collapse untreated lumber, improper joists, no inspections, zero structural integrity. The injured women's attorney approached the mic. "My client will never walk the same again. This wasn't a freak accident. This was reckless greed." Karen tried to whisper something to her lawyer. He shook his head. She was unraveling at the seams. The judge leaned forward, voice steady, deliberate. "Miss Lorraine, the court finds substantial evidence of fraud, misrepresentation, illegal construction, unlawful occupancy, and endangerment." Effective immediately, the doors to the chamber swung open. 2 federal marshals entered, followed by agents from the U.S. Forest Service. A collective gasp rippled through the room. The lead marshal approached the bench. "Your Honor, we have a federal warrant for the arrest of Karen Lorraine, pursuant to ongoing investigations into tax evasion, conspiracy, and environmental violations." Karen backed up, eyes darting. "This is ridiculous. I built a community. I protected this land. Her voice cracked as marshals gently took her by the arms. The room went dead silent, except for the click of handcuffs. No sunglasses, no clipboard, no kingdom left to command. Her daughter Macy wasn't far behind. Agents escorted her out another door, hands shaking, tears streaking, mascara. Inspector Vickers never showed. Later we learned he fled the state the night before. The judge continued reading the ruling as if nothing had happened. "All structures erected at Aspen Ridge are hereby condemned. The Aspen Ridge HOA is nullified. All activity ceases immediately. Full land ownership is reaffirmed to Mr. Silas Brady. He is entitled to damages, legal fees, and additional punitive compensation." The gavel came down, hard, final. Karen's empire didn't crumble. It detonated. And for the first time since I saw those cottages, I finally exhaled. Demolition crews rolled in a week later, bright orange excavators against the white mountain sky. They moved methodically, tearing apart the 9 illegal cottages piece by piece. The sound of snapping beams echoed across the valley, like the land was sighing in relief. Savannah filmed everything for her follow-up piece. Her voiceover was steady, almost reverent. Justice came not because someone shouted the loudest, but because truth had weight. The injured women's families visited the site. They stood quietly watching the remains of Cedar Haven collapse into dust. One of them whispered, "It never should have been here." Locals who once supported Karen stayed away. A few sent anonymous messages. "We didn't know. We were misled. She manipulated everyone." I wasn't angry at them. Karen had weaponized community, wielded fear like currency. The valley felt different now, quieter. still but not empty, the kind of silence that lets you breathe for the first time in months. As the last of the rubble was hauled away, Deputy Harris stood beside me and nodded. "Hell of a mess," he said. "Hell of a fight," I replied. And somewhere deep in the pines, free from HOA signs and fabricated rules, the river kept running like nothing had ever tried to claim it. Karen's legal fallout rolled in like an avalanche. A federal jury convicted her on land fraud, tax evasion, conspiracy to defraud the state, environmental violations, reckless endangerment, operating an illegal rental enterprise. The judge sentenced her to 16 years in federal prison. Her appeals were denied, each more embarrassingly flimsy than the last. Macy flipped early, testified against her mother in exchange for a reduced sentence. She now reportedly lives off-grid in Nevada, which felt painfully ironic for someone who profited off protected community land. Inspector Vickers was found hiding in Arizona, extradited and charged with bribery, falsification of zoning approvals, and dereliction of duty. His license was permanently revoked. Glenmount Heritage LLC was dissolved, and every dollar traced through the shell companies was frozen or redirected toward restitution. The IRS issued additional penalties. Over $400, 0 inches, unpaid, hospitality, tax, interest, and fines. As for me, the court awarded full reimbursement of legal fees, surveying and engineering costs, loss of use for the entire rental season, $250, 0 inches, punitive damages, and most importantly, full uncontested ownership of my land. No fake HOA, no squatters, no laminated signs, just clean earth ready to be rebuilt the right way. A year later, the valley looks nothing like the mess Karen built. 4 modern vacation homes sit on natural rises, hugging the land instead of fighting it. Wide glass windows, cedar decks, geothermal systems, clean, legal, inspected twice over. Guests come and go quietly. Fly fishers wade the river in the mornings. Hikers return dusty and smiling at dusk. And a grumpy black bear occasionally strolls up the driveway like he owns the place. He was here first. Fair enough. One crisp afternoon, a knock echoed across my porch. A woman stood there mid-30 seconds, moving carefully, wearing a brace beneath her coat. I recognized her instantly, the maid of honor from the balcony collapse. She smiled softly. I just wanted to say, thank you, for stopping her, for not backing down. If that balcony had fallen a few feet differently, I wouldn't be here. I nodded, unable to find words. She handed me a small bottle of wine. A handwritten note hung from the neck, built on truth, not lies. After she left, I walked to my office. On the wall hangs my deed, and beside it, a warped little sign salvaged from Karen's fake community. HOA, property members only below, that a new brass plaque I had. Custom-made, private land, no HOA, no shortcuts. Every time I pass it, I'm stored free. Reminded, some wars are fought with fists, some with paperwork, and some with the simple refusal to let a liar rewrite reality. This land is mine, and now finally it feels like it.